Hi, welcome to Lakeside Quilt Making Arts. It's a little dark in here. Let me turn some lights on, just a second. So today we're going to be recapping all the videos since our last report. And I've brought my list with me to make sure I don't forget anything because it's easy to do that. Now, I have pulled up my iPad. Well, I'm pulling up my iPad so I can look at the videos we released and we'll talk about them. And then I'll give you any kind of additional information that's happened since then. Our last recap was on the 19th. After that, we did the quilt shows block of the month, pick a petal, and this was where we picked the background fabric for the medallion. And that was fun for me to pull from my stash and find the right fabric. And then I've stashed it in here and I have it out here on the table because it's what I'm going to work on when we're done filming, because I want to finish this up today. I want to get these background pieces put on there. So that's what we did in that video, and it was a good exercise in understanding. And in that video, we really got to examine the value of value and the value of color and how they kind of compete. And also, I got to learn the nice little trick about when a pattern says reverse pattern, it means to flip the actual stencil or template. Little silly things like that can get you caught up. Then we moved on to the motif fabrics. We changed up our whole schedule. That's what we did since the last report. Mondays will be when we're featuring the motif blockheads, and you'll see that next video on Monday. On the first one, I just kind of introduced to you what it is, and that is our new plan. That we rescheduled everything, and the new programming is on the weekend, Saturday or Sunday, we do a slow stitching. That is the quilt shows, pick a petal, block of the month. And so that's kind of a slow stitch thing, and that's what we'll do on the weekends when people are kind of in more of a slower pace. On Monday, I feel like everybody's a little bit more ramped up and distracted and ready to get after their work week or school week or whatever it is that has them distracted from their craft of choice. Then on Tuesday, that'll be about the studio, tweaking things in the studio or some other technical thing, whether it's ergonomics or it's natural dyeing, those kinds of things. I'm hoping this next Tuesday should be what I've learned about natural dyeing. If the next couple of days work out the way I hope for them to, then I'll have something to update you on about that. But I have another topic already in line that we will discuss in addition to that, and that's more about the ergonomics of our workstations. And Wednesdays are our comfort in the waiting. That's what this is here. So it's W for waiting. It's S Saturday, Sunday for slow stitching, right? And then Monday is for Moda and Tuesday is for tech. So Thursday is the pet project of whatever pet project I have going on. And right now that is for my nephew Liam, the Mars Quilt. We worked on that yesterday. That was interesting for me because I really came from thinking, oh, okay, I know that I need to use paper to draw out where my gaps are. And that means I'm going to need to do paper piecing. I got to learn paper piecing. But then as it came together, I don't really think I have to do paper piecing. What I need to do is first shape the main body of that quilt. And then that will give me kind of a starting place of what I can put around it. And then I need to pull that whole thing down here. I need to just give up on this idea of piecing it together while it's still up there. I need to figure out, I'll probably keep these two doors, these bifocal doors closed and put it right there for the meantime. I was even thinking that there might be a way I can put it right here, but I'm not sure. I'll play with that and we'll see. But that was what we advanced on yesterday, was the Mars quilt. It was a herding of cats kind of video where I had one idea here, one idea there, and then that led to another question, and I really didn't know how to proceed. So I just kept asking questions and tweaking it as I went along to see what fell out of that. Kind of like shaking something in a sieve and seeing what falls through. And so we did that, and it was a good exercise. What came out of that is what my next step was nothing like what I thought it was going into it. And that's fine. That's why we do these things. And then Fridays are our report. I may have already given you, by talking about programming, I may have already talked about each of our videos. I kind of feel like I did. Oh, except I didn't really go into the comfort and the waiting. Or actually, I didn't go into the one about that we did on Tuesday. And what was that? Oh, the ever evolving studio where I lifted this table and it's working out so beautifully. I'm so pleased. And in fact, I just had delivered a cabinet that will go underneath it that I'll have to get built over the next 2 or 3 days. And I'll put that underneath, see how it works. And then if that works out like I think it should, I'll get another one for this side and next month, try to parse out these expenses. So what was our Wednesday video? That was our comfort in the waiting. And that's this one. What we had to do was see the ones over my shoulder here. See if I can point right there. Oh my gosh. It had a secondary design to it, which was a swastika, and we had to figure out how to get rid of that. I just couldn't unsee it. It was not intentional. And I know swastikas can have references other than what we too commonly, or maybe not too commonly, but what is commonly accepted for what it means. And we just don't want to go there. We just don't want anyone having a negative thought whenever they're seeing one of these quilts. We want them to think cozy and comfort and warm and lovely is what we want them to think. So we had to figure out how to address it. Do we replace it? Do we take it out and adjust it? Or do we move forward by adding something to it? And that's what we did. And I think it worked out beautifully. And by doing so, we did not have to put on any sashing because we don't need this quilt to be huge. We just need it to be, big enough to cover a body and to be cozy. But we're not trying to cover a queen size bed or even a twin size bed for that matter, just for someone to cuddle up with in the hospital bed or wherever they are. So that worked out well. Then yesterday was the Mars Quilt, and we talked about that already. And then today is our Friday report. One of the things I'm doing on the business side of things is I'm going to start trying to promote this channel some. I've been trying to improve my quality of videos while I built content before I started promoting. So I haven't really done that yet, but I'm going to start doing a little bit. So I really welcome your participation in sharing these videos, liking them, commenting on them, getting others to like them and comment, and of course, subscribing. If this channel is going to be successful, if I get to continue to do that and we go down this journey together, then, it's got to be a successful channel. I hope it will be. I have a surprise in the works. I talked to my long arm quilter, Sherry Spivey, and we have something up our sleeve, and I'll show you what that is, and hopefully in a couple of weeks. I really want this channel to help to bring the community together. I know I can't function like a news station and go out and do reporting on what people are doing. I can't do that, but I want to do that at the same time. So I do have the benefit of Zoom for some conversations, and then I can go in person here and there and then have some people in here to the studio, things like that. And maybe once a month we have people in to have a little conversation with somebody else. I love to go into their studios too. Zoom might be the most beneficial thing. I don't know when that will start. I need to get my feet on the ground about a couple of things that are up in the air right now outside of even the channel. But that's something that's in the works, mentally, and we'll see where that goes. When I was working on the editing for the Mars Quilt, I had this idea that maybe it needs to be named something other than what it is. Because in that video, I kept on hearing myself talking about that process, that creative process. And we have to be able to commit to, we have to be able to accept that our own ideas are worth following, accept them, believe in them, and empower them with our own commitment. And that started as I was looking at the quilt thinking, okay, do I mark on it? Do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? If I do this, it means I got to start cutting into the fabric. And that's a commitment that the ideas in my head is a direction I want to actually risk making an error about. And that worked out in my head. I kept on saying it and it turned and it turned. And, I came up with the analogy that my oldest granddaughter says about, I'll just be brave. And that's exactly what we all must do. So maybe that's what this quilt should be called, is boldly go and be brave. And that's kind of a takeoff from Star Trek's, boldly go where no man's gone before. So with that quilt, my nephew is being bold with his dreams. It's going to take a lot of courage for anybody to go and live on Mars. It's going to take courage for him to get from where he is as an 8-year-old little boy to that engineer who's designing suits or anything that is going to make Mars inhabitable for humans. So, that maybe that's a nice name for that quilt instead of Happy Valley. I really like Happy Valley, though. I really like Happy Valley. But Boldly Go and Be Brave, that works really well for that quilt. And if nothing else, it might just end up being a quilt that I put on the wall here. I like words, in a sign or in art. I don't always, because it can be really overdone and it can look very farmhouse-ish, which was, the raised for a long while there. But if it's something that really strikes my fancy, I wouldn't mind having it up for a little while and investing in putting that on the wall, investing in the time and creating it. I think the ladies over at Missouri Star have a set of letter patterns, which would be nice to have. You can always create them yourself. And I do have eQuilter, which I have to figure out how to use. So maybe I can do that in there. We'll see. We'll get to that at one point. But don't be surprised if you start hearing me say, boldly go and be brave. It's going to be rattling around in my brain. I just know it will be. All right, I think that's a recap of all the videos that we've done and kind of gives you an idea of where we're moving towards over this next few days. And I look forward to sharing what's happening. I will definitely be sharing this with you really soon, the Pick a Petal. That's it for now. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for giving me your time and caring about this journey, commenting and giving me some guidance where you see fit. I welcome being on this journey with you being on this journey with me, and with us all figuring it out together. I've watched some videos recently, some of them from the Quilt Show and some from, I think it's the American Quilter Society, of really talented quilting artists, fiber artists. They're being interviewed. And the quilts that are shown in those interviews and the work that they've done just blows me away. Just blows me away. I've got so far to go and I can't get there quickly enough. I really can't, because there's just creativity in me that's just chomping to get out. But I also know the value in doing my due diligence of really, what I want to say is overthinking. I need to learn. It needs to be innate about what that next step is, that next step, that next step, that next step. What is a creative process like when you're quilting? And I bet you each project is just going to be different. Clearly it is, right? But as I have the experience over a broad base of different kind of quilting projects, and I get real familiar and real comfortable in knowing what the steps are, then I can take that, and that gives me a working acumen then to work with and to build on and to add to it from my own sensibilities, my own guidance and direction. So with that, I'm going to tell you, boldly go and be brave these next few days. Enjoy your quilting. I hope you're having better weather than we are. We went from 6 degrees last week to 60 today. It's crazy. This is what living in North Alabama is like. We had ice for over a week, and now it is rainy and warm outside, and it's January 25th. Well, January 26th by the time you're seeing this. All right, my friends, boldly go and be brave. We'll see you soon. Thanks for being here. Bye-bye.